Welcome back all. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at classes. So this chapter is an introduction to classes in C++, and it basically encompasses the principles of object-oriented programming. Classes, more or less, are just like structures. They're logical units. We have already worked with classes pretty much in the previous chapter. All the STL types are classes. Let me just show you the general syntax for a class definition. So if I type in class name, and if I just go ahead and type in, I don't know, int, well, actually, we don't have to declare anything here. This is just pseudocode. So you would have a list of attributes, and you can have a list of methods that is functions, and I don't know, you could place a lot of things here. We'll see through the example how it actually works. Keep in mind that anything declared here, just like this, without stating whether it's public, private, or protected, will be considered to be private and will not be visible outside of the class at all. So that can present a bit of a problem. And if I type in class here and then type in date. So let's go ahead and create a class date. I'll delete this and let's say int day, and it's going to be int month, and we shall state that there's an int year as well. So if I want to access any of these variables, let's go ahead and create an object dt. I shall name mine dt, but you can, as in date, but you can name yours pretty much any way you want. And this object dt will be of type date. So I'm gonna go ahead and state dt dot day. Very, very, very similar to structures, if not the same in this regard. And we shall say that we would like to initialize this one to 10. This is going to cause an error, as day is considered to be private and cannot be accessed in this fashion outside of the class date. So if I just run this, you will see I will actually get an error, and it will state that date is private down below. In order for us to go around this, there is a simple fix to this problem. Perhaps not the wisest or the best of fixes, but it is a fix nevertheless. I can just type in public. I'm not really concerned with any sort of security or any interference here of whatsoever, so I'm just doing a demonstrative purpose. I'm just doing this for demonstrative purposes. If I type in public, semicolon, and then give a list of attributes down below, then this will be okay and this will compile. There you go. In essence, we've got a structure here. That is the only technical difference between a structure and a class. What you have just seen. If this was a structure, this would not have been a problem, but since it's not, it is. You have to make it public to access it from outside. Now, later we will make these attributes private, which is one of the fundamental principles of object-oriented programming, but for the time being, I shall leave them as a public. Now, if you're wondering how would you access them if they are private without putting them into the public domain, into the public domain here, so to say, well, you would basically create a method within a class date which would return one of these values. You would create a method whose return value would be, I don't know, year or month or day, and it would be able to pull them out. And that method would, of course, need to be public. You basically have two of them. You have methods that are referred to as setters, and you have methods that are referred to as getters. Getters would retrieve the values, and setters would set the values. But we shall talk about that some other time. For the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap the tutorial up here, and we will continue on in the follow-up. I would like to introduce you to the principles of object-oriented programming. It is spelled OPP like this. I'm telling you how it is spelled because you're going to encounter a lot of this in the documentation if you read any. So I would like you to be familiar with the terms. Anyway, bid you farewell and hope to see you in the follow-up.